So from today, we're going to start uh, learning how to interact with the different type of elements. First, we'll start with basic elements like how to handle alert windows and how to handle pop-up windows, and then how to handle drop-downs and so on. So first, let us start with checkboxes. How to handle checkboxes. And radio button checkbox is almost the same, but only the difference is in checkboxes, we can select multiple options. But in the radio buttons, we can select only one option at a time. And the methods and way of handling both are exactly the same. So now let us see how to handle checkboxes. And there are various types of operations we can do on the checkboxes, not only selecting the checkbox. So for that, I'm taking one example here. Okay, so let's go to this application. Here, I have different checkboxes, days like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. There are multiple checkboxes. So here we can do different type of operations. For example, I can select only 1 week at a time, or I want to select all the weeks, or sometimes I want to select only few checkboxes like this, first two checkboxes or first three checkboxes, or I want to select the last two checkboxes or last three checkboxes randomly. See how it is possible. So let us see one by one. So normally, if you want to handle the checkbox, we will identify this element or we locate this element. Then we use click action, click method. And for selecting and unselecting, for both the operations, we use same method, click. Okay. And if it is not selected, the click method will select the checkbox. And if it is already selected, when I use click method, it will unselect. For both actions, we use same method. Now go to Eclipse and create new package for today. In 9. New class, and here handle checkboxes. Okay. So now I'm going to create WebDriver, driver equal to Chrome driver, Control Shift O. So when I say Control Shift O, it will automatically import required packages. So this is a this is a application, and then we maximize the page. Now the first operation. Suppose I want to select specific checkbox. Specific, only one single checkbox. So we need to write a proper locator for it. So let us say I want to select something called Sunday. Let's inspect that element. And you can go here, selector hub, and you can see the XPath. And if I look at attributes, class is there, ID is there, type. Mostly class attribute may be same for other elements. If you look at here, and for other class, other checkbox also having same class. If I look at here, so we cannot use it. ID is different from element to another element, so we can use ID. And one more thing, in selector hub, if you want to capture XPath, so normally what you're doing is you can just right click on element and go to inspect, and it will show you the selector hub here. And here you can see all the locators. So this is the one way we can see, right? And other way is you can just open the selector hub. It will open the window like this. And here you can take this selector hub inspector and then specify or show any element, whichever you want, and then it will show you XPath. So these are the two ways we have. Other than this, there is another way. So without opening selector hub, we can still get the XPath from the selector hub. And for that, what we can do is you can simply say right click and go to selector hub, and here you can find these options. Directly you can find here. So copy absurd XPath, copy relative XPath. Okay, you can directly capture from here. So I'm just copying relative XPath and go back and find that element. So driver.find element, by dot XPath and dot click. So this will select a specific checkbox. If you want to select only one checkbox or two checkboxes, you can just locate that element first and then select it. This is simple direct option when I run as Java application. Okay, now we can see here the checkbox is got selected. Suppose I want to select all the checkboxes. I want to select all the checkboxes. Then what we can do? So this is the important scenario because in checkboxes we can select multiple checkboxes. So how can we do it? So if you want to select multiple checkboxes, normally, if I don't want to use any looping statement, you have to identify this element like this, every element, and then you have to perform the click action. Suppose if you have a 5 elements or 10 elements, you need to write 10 statements like this. Every element you have to click. And suppose if you have a 10 elements or 20 elements, then it is very difficult to write so many statements. So simply what you can do is we can write a looping statement. Through loop, we can select all the checkboxes. So first thing is step 1. Second one, select all the checkboxes. So to select all the checkboxes, first of all, we need to capture all the checkboxes, okay, into a variable. We need to capture all the checkboxes. Once you capture all the checkboxes, then we have to write a looping statement. Through the loop, we can repeat each and every checkbox one by one and then select. So to select all the checkbox, first we need to capture all the checkboxes. So how to capture all the checkboxes? Means what? I want to capture multiple web elements. So to capture multiple web elements, what we should do now? We have to write one XPath or any other locator, which will able to match only these checkboxes. Because in this page, there are so many elements are there, but I want to especially get only these 7 elements. Okay. Like that, we need to write a locator. Now, let us try to write our own locator because selector hub cannot give this type of XPaths directly, especially when you're locating multiple web elements. Most of the times we have to write our own locator. Now go to selector hub and then just observe if you want to capture all these checkboxes, we need to find one common attribute, right? So if I look at ID, ID is a different attribute. So by using the ID, we cannot get all the checkboxes because ID is different from one element to another element. If I look at here, how these elements are arranged. So this is a div tag inside this input tag. This is actual checkbox. There is another div tag inside this. There is another input tag. And you can see every div is representing one section, and inside the div, you can see input tag. These input tags are actual elements of checkboxes. So now we need to find one common attribute for these input tags. This is one input tag. This is another input. This is another input, and so on. So totally 7 inputs are there. So for every tag, we need to find one common attribute. And if you look at here, what is the common attribute which we have here? Class. Type we cannot use, okay? Type is a checkbox, okay, that is also fine. But before that, if you look at straightforward, class most of the times we will prefer to use, right? Class, form check input, class form check input, class form check input, form check input. So for every checkbox, the class attribute is exactly the same, right? So now I'm trying to use this class attribute to locate the element along with the XPath, okay? So for example, if I say, okay, so let us see only class name. Okay, so let me capture the class name. I'm writing only class. So this is a class. When I use only class name, if you want to use CSS selector, you have to put dot, right? See, 9 elements are matching. Suppose if you are using in XPath also, let's say // input tag, and here I'm using class equal to form check input. Okay, form check input. Now you can just observe 9 elements are matching. But how many elements we required? Only 7 elements, but it is matching 9 elements. You can see this XPath is also matching with the radio buttons. You can see this XPath is also matching with the radio buttons along with the 7 elements. These 2 elements also matching, but we don't need these elements. Only the 7 elements we required. So if you write XPath like this, okay, if you're writing XPath using a class, it is not exactly matching with 7 elements. It is also matching with some other elements. So now we need to filter these 9 elements. We have to filter. So how to filter this? So you can see here the type attribute is checkbox. This will be different. For the radio button, type attribute will be different. Okay. So if I go back and see here for the radio button, okay, if you look at the radio button text area, so that doesn't have any type attribute, right? So we can filter by additionally adding type attribute. So how can we add additional attribute here? Additional attribute using end at the rate type equal to checkbox. Okay, now 7 elements are matching. So you can write XPath in many ways. This is one approach I have suggested. Okay, because both should be matched, right? So the class name should be form check input. Also, type should be checkbox. If you remove the type checkbox, if I use only class, it is matching with what? 9 elements. So I want to filter. Okay, for example, if I use only type attribute, we will see whether it is locating element or not. Only type attribute. See here, 12 elements are matching. There are some more elements which are having same type equal to checkbox. So that's the reason only checkbox is also not enough. So now we need to use a combination of 2 attributes. Okay, form check input, and this is a class attribute, this is a type attribute. When you combine these attributes, then we are able to locate exactly 7 elements. So this is how we can write our own customized XPath according to your requirement. Now let me try to use it and go back. And when you want to use XPath access method like parent, child, all those things, if you do not find any attributes of the element, okay, then we will take the help of neighbor elements. But currently we have so many attributes, right? So unnecessarily, why we need to go with neighbor elements? Not needed. So we can directly use existing attributes and we can create our own XPath and try to use it. Okay, now, so to select all the checkboxes, first we need to capture them. So how to capture? Now we want to capture, we are capturing multiple checkboxes. So we have to use what? Find elements, because we are capturing multiple web elements by .xpath, and this is the XPath of the elements. So I'm not doing any action directly. I'm just keeping semicolon. So this will return multiple web elements, means multiple checkboxes. So I'm going to store in a variable called checkboxes. Now, what is the return type of this? Yes, list collection of web element. Every checkbox is what? Web element. So we need to import list of web element. From java.util, we have to import also web element is a capital letter. Okay, so now what we have done here is we have captured all the checkboxes into this. So now we need to select all these checkboxes one by one. So to select this, I'm going to write a looping statement. It can be enhanced for loop or it can be normal classic for loop. By using index, we can write, because list collection will follow indexing concept, right? So we can easily capture one by one each and every checkbox, and then we will able to select it. But especially when you're working with these type of scenarios, try to use always enhanced for loop instead of using normal for loop. Okay, so I will show you both, but always try to prefer enhanced for loop. First, let us start with the normal for loop. How to extract checkbox one by one. So I'm writing one for loop. normal for loop. So list collection index will start from 0. So I'm taking int I equal to 0 starting point. And how many times we have to repeat this depends upon the number of checkboxes. So how to know number of checkboxes? How we will know number of checkboxes? Total number of checkboxes in this size. So here I'm directly writing I less than checkboxes dot size. So depends upon the size, we have to repeat this loop and then I plus plus. Okay, now from the checkboxes, we need to get each and every checkbox one by one. So from the checkbox dot, what is the method we have to use to extract the item from the checkbox? What is the method to extract the value from the checkbox? Get. So dot get of, get method will take index. So I is an index, I'm passing I value. So this will return the first checkbox. Once it is written the first checkbox, then it will, I'll perform the click action. So what exactly we are doing here is, from the checkboxes, I'm getting the first checkbox based on the index, and then I'm performing the click action. Now second round I value becomes 1, then again another checkbox you will get here, and then again you are clicking. So this will repeat for all the checkboxes which are captured here. So this is a one way to select all the checkboxes. So let us try this. Right now it is selected all the checkboxes. And same thing we can write by using enhanced for loop. Let me repeat this. Comment. Now I'm writing enhanced for loop. It's very simpler than that one. So you can simply say, take this variable checkboxes, because here we are not going to use any index. Checkboxes, take one by one each checkbox and store into variable here checkbox. And now tell me what is the type of this variable? Type. So from the checkboxes, right? So this is a variable. I'm taking each and every checkbox one by one into this variable. So every checkbox is a web element, right? That we are going to store in another variable. So this variable should be what? Web element. Right now we are directly getting the web element here. So once you get a web element, directly perform click action. Okay, you can directly perform click actions. Here we are not getting any index. We are not getting any specific element. So it just read each and every checkbox one by one, and then we are performing the click action on the element directly. So here, index, repetition, condition, size, all those things we don't need. So this loop will repeat till all checkboxes are selected. So this is the simplest way to select all the checkboxes using enhanced for loop. Okay, done. Now, so let us see one more, and commenting this again. One more scenario. So these two scenarios most commonly do. Everybody know most of them. We do like this, but there are some conditional based scenarios are there. So most of the times in interview, you will get these type of questions. Suppose my requirement is I want to select last 3 checkboxes. Okay, I want to select last 3 checkboxes. So based upon the input. So I want to select the last 3 checkboxes. Let us assume you have 10 checkboxes or 20 checkboxes. I don't know how many are there. But from the last, I want to select 2. Let's say Saturday, Friday, or Saturday, Friday, or Thursday. Like this. From the last, I want to select 2 or 3 checkboxes. I don't want to select individually like this, one by one. No. Because if you are 7, you can start from the 7, 6, and 5. But if you are increasing like this, suppose you have 10 checkboxes, how you will know what are the last 3 checkboxes? You don't know, right? So you need to dynamically find the last checkboxes, 3 checkboxes, and then I want to select them. Okay, so that is a scenario. How to select last three checkboxes. So here there is a formula actually. So based on that, you can capture last three checkboxes. So let me tell you what is that. Accordingly, you can do it. Here we have to use only normal for loop. Okay, enhanced for loop we cannot use because we want to deal with the index here. So how to select last three checkboxes? Just observe. Here I have multiple checkboxes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally 7 checkboxes. Indexes start from what? 0, right? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are indexes. Now I want to capture only last three checkboxes. I want to select the last three checkboxes. Okay. To select the last three checkboxes, first of all, we need to count total number of checkboxes. How many checkboxes are there? Total number of checkboxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not talking index. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 checkboxes are there. So total is 7 checkboxes minus how many checkboxes you want to select from the last three checkboxes. 1, 2, 3 checkboxes. Say 7 minus 3 equal to what? 4. Okay, 7 minus 3, 4. Now this 4 is a starting index. From here we have to start reading the checkboxes. So from here we have to start 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 3 checkboxes you will get. Suppose I want to select the last 2 checkboxes. Only 5 and 6 I want to select. So how to get these 2 checkboxes? Total number of checkboxes minus how many checkboxes you want to select? Only 2 checkboxes. So 7 minus 2 equal to 5 is a starting index. So we need to start from the 5. So then 5 and 6, you will get only 2 checkboxes. So this is the formula. So total number of checkboxes minus how many checkboxes you want to select. That will give you starting index. Okay. And in the looping statement, starting index should be this one, not 0. Okay. So let us try to apply this formula. So here I'm writing one for loop. So int I equal to, okay, I will write here formula. So this is a formula. So total number of checkboxes minus how many checkboxes you want to select equal to starting index. All right. So where we have to start index, I equal to 4. Okay. And then I less than or equal to checkboxes dot size. And then I plus plus. So starting index should be 4. Now, how to select checkbox from the checkboxes? Because we already collected all the checkboxes. From this, we are getting the element by using get of I dot click. So this will able to click. Right? So now execute run as Java application. So this technique will be very, very useful if you have more number of checkboxes. Yeah, now you can see the last 3 checkboxes have been selected. So this is the formula. So total number of checkboxes minus how many checkboxes you want to select from the last. That will give you starting index equal to starting index that you have to use it here. Okay. Now I want to select first 3 checkboxes. Next scenario, select first 3 checkboxes. So then how can we do it? First 3 checkboxes. Here we don't have any formula. We just start from the 0 itself. Very simple. So for first 3 checkboxes, right? We'll start I equal to 0. And if you want to select first 3 checkboxes, what could be the condition here? Only first 3 checkboxes means 0, 1, and 2. right? 0, 1, and 2. That means less than 3. Less than 3 you can put, or else I less than or equal to 2 also you can put. Because it is count from 0, we need 0, we need 1, and we need also 2. So 0, 1, 2. Whenever I value becomes 3, condition become false. So I can put less than 3 and then I plus plus. So when I say less than 3, it will select first 3 checkboxes. Now from the checkboxes, dot get of I dot clicker. So this will select first 3 checkboxes, and you need to just change the condition accordingly. You can select something wrong. Semicolon. Okay, now first 3 checkboxes. Now another requirement. This is the 4th. Okay. Now another requirement. I want to unselect checkboxes. So some checkboxes are already selected, but I want to unselect. And at the time of unselecting, whichever checkboxes are already selected, I want to verify them. And if it is selected, then I will uncheck or unselect. Got my point? So you may have multiple checkboxes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and some of them are selected like this, randomly or sequentially. Some of them are already selected. And whichever checkboxes are got selected, I will unselect only those checkboxes. I will unselect only those checkboxes. Okay. And if I use click method directly, this will go and select every checkbox. And suppose if everything is got selected, if I use again one more time click method, this will unselect every checkbox. But that's not my requirement. I want to unselect. First step, I will select a few checkboxes randomly. After that, I will unselect only those checkboxes. Whichever is already selected, only those checkboxes I want to unselect. Okay. Then how it is possible? So this is my requirement. Whichever checkboxes are selected, just I want to unselect. Okay. So what I will do is I will try to repeat this loop one more time. 5th requirement, unselect checkboxes if they are selected based on the condition. So first step, what I will do is I will select first 3 checkboxes, or randomly you can select whatever checkboxes you want. So this particular loop will select checkboxes. Okay. And now I want to unselect. In this, you can use normal for loop or enhanced for loop. Anything is fine. So I'm trying to use enhanced for loop directly. Checkboxes. I'm taking checkboxes. And from this, I'm reading each and every checkbox one by one. And this is a web element. And this element, I'm just going to click. So this particular loop will select all the checkboxes. This loop will select all the checkboxes. Okay, suppose if you want to select only first 3 checkboxes, how can we select? Then we have to write only normal for loop. So through enhanced for loop, we cannot select a specific checkboxes because we don't have indexing here. Index concept we won't follow here, right? So if you want to work with the specific checkboxes randomly or dynamically, then you have to write only normal for loop. Enhanced for loop will not work. Okay, let's change it to the normal for loop. So this will repeat, this will check first 3 checkboxes. Okay, now execute. Okay, first 3 is got selected. So now what I will do is I will pause my code sometime because it will go very faster. You cannot see this. I will just pass for 5 seconds. And after that, I will write the same loop one more time. Okay, same looping statement. First time, this will select all the checkboxes. And after that, it will unselect all the checkbox. All means 3 checkboxes. Okay, now, but here I don't want to unselect everything. Okay, let us try to execute first. So here I put 3 only, right? So that's the reason only 3 got selected. Here I will put checkboxes dot size. Okay, just observe what will happen. So initially, by using first loop, I'm selecting only 3 checkboxes. But in the second for loop, I'm considering all the checkboxes. See, first 3 checkboxes are selected. After 5 seconds, see here, first 3 checkboxes are unselected, but rest of the checkboxes are got selected. But I don't want to do like this. Whichever checkboxes we selected initially, I want to unselect only those checkboxes. Only these 3 checkboxes I want to unselect, not rest of them. So what we can do here, before clicking on this checkbox, first we will see whether it is selected or not. If it is selected, then click on it, then unselect it. Otherwise, no. So how can we put the condition now? If this checkbox, so this will give you checkbox, right? Checkboxes will get of I dot is selected. We have conditional method, right? Is selected, and then do this. If it is already selected, then do this. Otherwise, don't do this. Now execute. So based on the condition, we will know exactly whether it is selected or not. If it is selected, then unselect. So now first 3 are selected, and after that, it will unselect only those 3 checkboxes. Okay. So this is how we can handle checkboxes based upon different type of requirements. Okay. But in the radio buttons, we don't have such type of choices. So in the radio button, we can select only one radio button at a time. If you select another radio button, first one will be removed. In the last classes, I have shown you already how to handle radio button. So you can check it. Okay. So is this clear, everyone? So how to handle checkbox? So these are the different scenarios you have to remember. In interview perspective, it is very, very important. All right. Now the next element. How to handle alerts, which is also called as pop-ups. And most important, listen carefully. Alerts or pop-ups. Sometimes when you're working on web pages or web applications, you can see some kind of pop-ups or some kind of alerts. Until unless you close those alerts or pop-ups, you cannot proceed further. You have to close them, then you have to continue further. So how can we handle such type of alerts in Selenium WebDriver? Okay, so in Selenium, basically there are 3 kinds of alerts are there. There are 3 kinds of alerts. So let me show you what are those types of alerts. Okay, so I'm directly opening the page. So these are also called as JavaScript alerts. So these are the 3 alerts. First one is just like a normal alert. If I click on this button, you will get the normal alert with OK button. This is just having only OK button. So this is a normal alert. And when I click on second one, this is called confirmation alert. Means it will have 2 buttons, OK and cancel. We can click on one of this button. This is called confirmation alert. Third one is prompting alert. When you click on this, you will see one input box along with OK cancel button. This is called prompting alert. Okay. So one is normal alert, confirmation alert, and prompting alert. So now we'll see how to handle these type of alerts. Until unless you close this, you cannot do any other operations on this web page. And if it is a confirmation box, we have two options. Either we have to close this by using OK button, or we can close this by using cancel button. And in the prompt alert, again, we have an input box. If you want to pass some text in the input box, we can pass it. And we can also capture the text from the alert window. And we can also click on OK button or cancel button. We can close this by using either OK or cancel button. So options are there. So this is called prompt alert. These are the three kinds of alerts. Okay, so to handle this alert window, how to handle in WebDriver? So first thing we need to remember, alert is not a web element. So when you click on this, you will get this window, right? This is not a web element. And you cannot inspect this button, you cannot inspect this label, anything. So if you try to right click on this, you will not get anything. You can't inspect these things because this is not a web element. And even if you go back and see prompt alert, this is also not web element. This entire alert is not web element. So inside this alert box, whatever elements are there, we cannot inspect those elements. We cannot get any attributes of those elements. Okay, this is the first thing you need to remember. Alerts windows are not web elements. Not only alert windows, inside the alert window, you can see any elements. They are not web elements because we can't inspect them. We cannot get any attributes for those elements. That's the first thing. Now, so how can we handle this? So there are specific methods are there in WebDriver, and by using those methods, we can handle alerts. Now we'll see one by one. I will show you all three boxes one by one. Listen carefully. So I'm creating a new class, handle alerts. Right. Right. So now we created driver instance and then launching the page and then maximizing it. Now let us deal with the first type of alert. So normal alert with OK button. Normal alert means which is having only OK button. One single button. Okay. So before getting alert window, we have to click on this element. So once you click on this element, then only you will get this alert window, right? So let us do. These are web elements again. So these buttons are web elements. So we can easily inspect them. So we can just inspect. And if I go back to the selector hub, you can see the XPath for that element. Use this XPath. So we are finding single element. So I can say driver.find element by .xpath and .click. So we have to perform click action on that element. That means it's a button, right? So we perform click action. So once you done this action, this will open the alert window. Okay. So once you open the alert window, what is the next action is we have to just close this, right? Just we have to close this. How to close this? If you want to close this manually, what you will do? You will click on the OK button. Once you click on the OK button, it will close. But in WebDriver, we can't inspect them. So we cannot consider this as an element. So we cannot apply click method. So what we can do is whenever you see alert window, you have to switch your driver from this particular page to this particular alert. We can switch it. Okay, so how to switch? Driver dot switch to dot alert. This is the command. So what this command will do is whichever alert window is currently open on the web page, this will capture that alert window, and that we can store in a variable also if you want. Okay, so this will go and switch to the alert window, and immediately you can call one method called accept. This is a method. So there are two commands are combined here. One is switching to the alert till here. It will switch to the alert or it will return the alert window. Once you get an alert window, we are calling accept method. So this will close the alert window automatically. Okay, just observe. Once I click on this element, I'll just put some wait statement so that you can clearly see that. Otherwise, it will go very faster. We cannot see. I put to 5000 milliseconds. It is not because of synchronization problem. I'm just keeping this time just for parsing the code so that once you open the alert, you will see whether it is there or not. And after that also you can see. So after clicking on this, I'm closing the alert window. Just observe here. When I run this as a Java application, so there are two commands are combined here. So it is launching the alert window. Now you can see after 5 seconds, it will automatically close. Okay, so you can see you successfully clicked on alert. So we successfully close the alert by use. So this is the command actually. Driver dot switch to dot alert. This command will return alert window. Once it returns alert window, we are accepting it. Okay, suppose in alert window, I want to do some other action. Suppose I want to capture this message and then I want to close this. Okay, so then we want to perform multiple operations. So whenever you want to perform multiple operations, don't directly use this command. So try to save that or try to store that alert window in a variable. I call it as, let's say, my alert. Okay, store this alert window, whichever alert window this command is returning, store that alert window in a variable. Now, what is the type of this variable? So this will return alert type of variable. You can see this is the return type, alert object it will return. So the type of variable should be alert. It is not Boolean, it is not web element, it is not a string. Okay, there is a special return type is there that's called alert. So that we have to again import from org.openqr.selenium. So once you get this element in a variable, then you can do multiple operations. You can get text from the web element. You can get the text from the alert by using get text. So this will give you text from the alert window. So I'm directly writing here. I can say system.out.println. Just a second. Okay, inside this, you can write alert.get text. Sorry, my alert.get text. So get text is a method through which we can capture the text of the alert window. So my alert.get text. And again, if you want to close, after that, I want to close my alert. Spelling mistake. Okay, so then I can say my alert.accept. So if you want to do multiple operations like this, you can store that alert window in a variable, and the type of the variable is what? Alert. Remember this point. Okay, sometimes it will be very useful. So if you want to perform only single action, just want to close, so you can directly switch it and immediately you can use accept. And if you want to perform multiple operations, like if you want to get the text or if you want to accept it, then store that in a variable, and after that use that variable here. Okay, so the variable type is what? Alert. Okay, so sometimes we want to validate the text is correct or not. Okay, so this text is correct or not. How we can validate? You will first capture the existing text, and you compare with your expected text. Okay, if both are matching, your test pass. Both are not matching, your test failed. So that's the reason we want to capture it. Okay, for everything there is a requirement. We are not doing blindly everything. Okay, so whenever you want to, why we have to capture the text? Because we want to validate something in this, inside this. Okay, fine. So let us try to execute and see this. And run as. After capturing the text, then it will close my alert window. Okay, it is done. So go back and see. Yeah, this is a exact message which is displayed on the alert window. Okay. So is this clear, everyone? How to handle normal alert means which is having only OK button, nothing have, only OK button. So first point you need to remember, alert is not a web element. Whatever elements are there in alert window or alert box which we cannot inspect, we can't get any attributes. So how can we handle? We have to use this method, driver dot switch to dot alert. So this command will return alert. And what's the type of the variable is alert. And once you get a variable, we can perform whichever operation you want. So what is the main method we use here is accept. This method will automatically close alert window. Okay. So this is how we need to handle normal alert window. Now we'll see another window, confirmation alert. So this is the first one. Second, confirmation alert means what? Which is having OK and a cancel button. So OK and cancel. So both the buttons you can see on confirmation alert. Right. So if I look at here, this is also a type of alert window. So this is also not a web element. Okay. This is whenever you see alert, that's not a web element. But here we have two choices. We can close this by clicking on OK. When I do this, you can see you clicked on OK button. And also you have another choice. We can close this by using cancel button. When I click on cancel, that is also closed. But here is you clicked cancel. So in the confirmation alert, we have two choices. Either we can close this by using OK, or we can close this by using cancel. So if you want to close this by using OK, you have to use accept method, just like before. We use accept method, right? And if you want to close this alert by using cancel, then you have to use dismiss method. There is another method called dismiss. So when I use dismiss method, that will close this alert window using cancel button. That's the only difference. So that is the additional method which we can use it here. So let me click on the second button here, JS confirmation button. So that will open the alert window. So this is a second element. So here I'm performing click action. So this will open prompt alert. And after that, I'll wait for some time here, thread.sleep. If I don't put wait statement, it will work still, but it will go very faster. You can't see them. Right. So this will open alert window. Now my requirement is I want to close alert using accept. Okay. So because I'm performing single action, I don't want to store them in any other variable. If you still want to store, you can use the same command to store the alert window another variable, or else you can directly do this. So from the driver instance, driver dot switch to dot alert. So this command will switch to the alert window or return the alert window dot accept. So this will close alert using OK button. This is the one command. The other command is driver dot switch to dot alert dot dismiss. So this command will close alert using cancel button. Okay. Now we'll see the second one directly in dismiss. Okay, this is my alert window. If it is closed using cancel, you can see you clicked on cancel. So dismiss method is working fine. And accept is as usual. So if you want to close alert window using accept, you can enable this using accept. So these are the only two methods you have to just remember. Driver.switch to .accept, driver.switch to .alert.accept, driver dot switch dot alert dot dismiss. Okay, so you can say you click the OK button. So these are the two methods. Again, if you want to capture the text, you can use it. Get text method also you can use it. You can store the alert in another variable also. You can use get text method. So whatever you done in the previous one, same thing you can repeat for the confirmation message also, confirmation alert also. So accept and dismiss. How many methods we learned so far? Alerts. Accept and dismiss. So you can see driver dot switch to dot alert dot accept. Same thing, driver dot switch to dot alert dot dismiss. And there is one more command we learned, get text, driver dot switch to dot alert dot get text. You can use get text directly like this, or if you want to store alert, you can store this alert in another variable, and that variable dot get text method you can use. Okay, these are the three methods we have remembered. So this is confirmation alert. Now there is another type of alert which is called prompt alert. Okay. Next, third type of alert, prompt alert. So which is having input box, and you don't see more number of elements in this. Okay, so currently there's only one input box. You don't see two input box or four input box, not like that. Alert window doesn't have any elements. So this is an input box. So there is only one input box along with OK cancel. For OK cancel, we can use dismiss or accept. But how can we handle this input box? Suppose I want to pass some text into it. I want to pass something called welcome. Okay, and after that, you can just click on OK button. So then you can see whichever value we have entered in the input box, which is appeared here. And suppose if I don't, if I pass some value and I'm clicking on cancel here. So null, you're getting null. Null means you're not passing anything. And whichever you are passing in the input box, when I click on OK button, that you will get it. So I don't have anything, so it is empty. Right, so we'll see how to pass a value into the input box. So first of all, inspect this element. So this is XPath for the element. So driver dot find element by dot XPath dot click. So this will open the prompt alert window. Now my first requirement on this is not closing this alert window. Before closing, we need to pass some text here. But here, this input box, we cannot inspect it. We cannot get any attributes for this element. So how can we do this? And also, after passing this value, I want to close this by using OK or cancel button. So I want to do multiple actions. So first, let us capture this alert window in a variable. So how to capture again? Driver dot switch to dot alert, and that I'm going to store in a variable. I say my prompt alert. And what is the type of this variable? Obviously, this is alert type. And now take this variable dot. Okay, let me give simple name. Okay, take this variable. Now I want to pass some text in the input box. So what you can do, take this alert window variable dot. Directly you can call send keys method. Send keys. And here I'm passing welcome. So the send keys method you can directly access from the alert object. So from this, you can directly call send keys method. So this particular text will go and provide inside the input box directly. And after this, what you need to do, you need to close this alert. So take the same alert object dot dismiss or accept. Accept. If you want to take that value in input box, we have to use accept. Okay, this is how. So I'll put some wait statement again. Okay, just observe this. So we are clicking on this and then it is open the alert window. We are capturing into variable and then we are passing the text in input box and then we are accepting it. So when you perform these operations, you can't see this value is entering in the input box. So normally when you run your automation, whichever value you are passing in the input box, you are able to see that value at the runtime, right? At the time of execution, you can see that value which is properly entering in the input box or not. But here you can't directly see the value in the input box. But how we will know whether it is provided value or not? After closing the window, after closing this, you can see the value here. Okay, if you are able to see the value here, that means you have successfully provided value into the input box. That is a confirmation. Okay, let's try to execute now. See here you can't see the value is providing in input box or not. But after closing it, you can see the value here. Okay, so this is another thing because that's not a web element actually. So this is how we can handle prompt alert. And if there is an input box, you can directly get this element and you can directly pass send keys. This is another method. Driver dot switch to dot alert dot send keys. And here you can pass some text. So all the methods we can access from driver dot switch dot alert. But if we want to do multiple operations, better to store alert in a variable. Suppose instead of repeating this for everything, you can store this alert in a variable like this, my alert, and the variable type is what? Alert. Okay, and then you can use this object everywhere like this. Instead of writing same thing multiple times, store that alert in a variable and refer that variable for every type of action. So these are the actions: accept, dismiss, get text, and send keys. Okay, so these are all different methods are there to handle alert windows. So normal alert, then we have a confirmation alert, then we have a prompt alert. And apart from these three, sometimes we can see authenticated pop-up. As soon as you open the website, it will give you username and password. That is also type of pop-up or alert. So we'll see how to handle this later. But for now, these are the three alert windows. Now I'll tell you one more thing. In interview, people will ask you, so how to handle alert window? So you will say driver dot switch command is there. So switch dot alert, that will return the alert window. And then we will perform the different type of operations, right? So this is a command will give you alert window, and then we can perform the different operations. But my question is, I don't want to use switching command. I don't want to use switching command. Then how can we handle alert? If we don't want to use switching command, how to get the alert window in a variable? How can we perform these operations? So most of the people don't know this. So these type of questions you will get in interview. So by using switching command, we can easily handle all types of alert windows. But without using switching command, how can we handle this? Okay. So here there is another option available using explicit wait. Using explicit wait, also we can handle alert window using explicit wait without using switching command. I will show you practically. Just observe. This is type of questions you will get in interview most of the times. Tricky questions. Okay. Handle alert without using switch, or we can say handle alert using explicit wait. Okay. Using explicit wait, I'm just going to handle alert window. That means without using switching command. These are two concepts here. Handle alert without using switch to dot alert. That means by using explicit wait, we can handle. Okay, so just observe. So I'm taking same example. Go back to the previous one. It can apply with any type of alert, no problem. So I'm taking this one. All right. So this is the driver instance and launching my browser and maximizing the window and clicking on the button after waiting some time. So we are getting the alert window here. For this alert. And then we are performing get text and accept, everything is same. Okay, now I don't want to use this switching command. And without switching command, we want to handle this. So normally when you run this, it will able to get the text from the alert window. And then we are able to accept. Yeah. Okay, working fine. Now I still want to get alert window like this, but I don't want to use switching command here. Okay, so then how can we do this? Remove this. So instead of doing this, we want to use explicit wait. So how to use explicit wait? First, there are two parts, right? Declaration and usage. So as soon as you created the driver, first to declare the explicit wait. How to declare? Web driver wait. Do you guys remember this? Web driver wait. My wait equal to new web driver wait. And here we have to pass driver instance along with the time. Duration dot of seconds, max 10 seconds I'll put. Okay, this is the declaration of explicit wait. Right? So just import this. This is a declaration of explicit wait. So explicit wait. Now we want to use this wait for the alert. Okay, how to use it here? After opening alert window, we want to wait for the alert. Okay, that is a condition. Explicit wait is for what? Based on the condition, right? So after clicking on this for, we want to wait for the alert. Once alert is waited, then we can get it. So how to wait for the alert? We have a method here. What is that? Take this variable, my wait dot until expected conditions dot is alert present. This is a method. Alert is present. Okay, this particular method, this particular condition becomes true whenever an alert is open. Okay, and once the alert is open, this will return alert into a variable. So that I'm going to create my alert. The type of the variable is alert. Again, same process. And this alert we can use. This is alert variable we are referring here and also here. So this is another way. My wait dot until expected conditions dot what alert is present. After clicking on this, this will wait for an alert. So once the alert is available, then it will capture it. It condition becomes true. As soon as the condition becomes true, then it will return the alert window in a variable. And then we can continue further operations. This is the another way to capture the alert. You got my point? So this is another way. So by using explicit wait, we can also capture the alert window. Now execute and see. Okay, now alert is open. Now it is successfully closed. So if there is no alert window, alert not found exception you will get. If there is no alert window, alert not found exception you will get. Okay. So clear, everyone? So this is how we can handle alerts. Now I'm going to show you one special type of alert or pop-up, which is called authenticated pop-up. Most of the times we call an interview perspective, which is most important scenario. So that's the reason I told you here. By using explicit wait also, we can handle alerts. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. So there is another special type of pop-up, which is called authenticated pop-up, or we can say alert. So what is the specialty of this? Let me show you an application. So it's very difficult to find this type of applications. So normally when you're working on real-time environment, if you are able to access real applications, until unless you provide your username and password, you can't access any application UI. So you cannot directly see the website. So before opening your website, it will ask you your authentication. So once you provided your authentication, then only it will allow us to see all the information. So if I look at here, this is a different type of page. Just observe. I'm just opening the URL. Press enter. See here, this is called alert or pop-up. And this time we have a username and password. Okay. So this is called authentication pop-up. Until unless we provided username and password, we cannot directly sign in. We cannot access. Okay. If you provide username and password manually, say admin, admin. I'm passing username and password, admin, click on sign in. Okay, now you got a proper message. Congratulations. So if you get this message, login is successfully done. So this is called authentication pop-up. So how to handle these type of pop-ups? And again, just like a normal alert, the pop-up is also we cannot locate. That is not web element. Now the input boxes which are there inside the pop-up, we cannot inspect them. We cannot directly pass username and password into them. Okay. So this is a special type of pop-up. So how can we handle this? No, this is a different type of, it is not a prompt alert actually. This is called as authenticated pop-up. Okay. So that is not part of your web application. That comes from the browser itself. So we cannot handle this. But there is a way to handle this. Cannot handle means what? We can't inspect those elements. That's the first thing. We cannot get any attributes for those elements. Second thing, we cannot use the switching command also. We can't use the switching command also. Switch command will not work. And even explicit wait also won't work. So what we can do is, let me show you. So the username and password, we have to pass along with the URL. That process is called injection process. We have to inject username and password inside this URL itself. Then we can avoid that particular authenticated pop-up. So we cannot handle that directly, but we can skip it. We can avoid it. Okay. So how can we avoid it? When you pass username and password along with this URL, then we can avoid it. Okay. So how to pass username and password along with this URL? A small technique is there. Let me tell you. So this is the user and this is the actual URL. So we need to inject username and password into this URL. So we have to follow one syntax actually. The syntax is http://username:/password at the rate. After that, you can pass this entire thing. This is a syntax. So here in this particular place, we have to specify username and password along with @ So this is a syntax. So username and password, we directly pass along with the URL. So now let us create a URL with the username and password, and then we will see whether it is asking username and password. So here instead of username, I'm passing admin. Here password is also admin. Okay, now I'll try to open this URL on the browser. So previously when I open URL directly, it is asking for username and password, right? Now I'm passing this URL along with username and password. See here, it is just skip that window and directly it is login and it is giving congratulations. Because we already passed username and password along with the URL. So it is automatically skip that authenticated window. So this particular process we have to follow. So go to Eclipse and let me create another example. This is a process of injecting URLs, injecting the user information along with the URL. Okay, create new class, handle authenticated pop. Yes, that is a common syntax in all types of websites. And before that, you can check, okay, whether it is an authenticated window or if sometimes it will be normal frame. You can still locate an elements and you can still perform the actions. In those cases, you can do like that. You no need to follow this process. Okay, it's very rare case, and also it's very difficult to find this type of application in the internet. Only in the real-time environment you can see these type of things. Very rarely you can find this. Okay, now observe this. Okay, now just observe, I'm directly launching the page without passing username and password. See, you're able to see the sign-in form. So this we can't directly handle. Switching command will not work. Inspecting elements also will not work. But sometimes in your application, it may be a simple form. You have to cross check, okay, whether if you're able to inspect these elements, you can continue with the normal way. Locate this element using send keys method, then click on the sign in button. That is a normal way. If you're not able to recognize this, then you have to follow this approach. Okay, now you're getting this. So instead of passing this URL, I'm trying to pass this modified URL along with username and password. Okay, I can pass this driver dot get off like this. So which contains the username and password. So once you run this, it will skip that window and directly log in into the application. Okay, done. So just remember these two. Okay. So this is the syntax. So this is simplest way to handle authenticated popups. So switching command will not work, wait command will not work, normal attributes will not work. So only we have to inject the username and password along with the URL. Okay, so this is all about alerts today's session, and tomorrow's session we will see some different frames and how to handle different type of windows, all the stuff. So this is the topic for today's session, and as part of assignment, you guys can try this. So in the test automation form, so you can see there are some elements are there. So I already shown you this. And if you scroll down, you can see some checkboxes in the table. Here you can see some checkboxes are there, right? So just try to select this. You can just try to select these checkboxes. Okay, this you can try this. One type of assignment. And there is another assignment Window based pop-up is also same process you can access. Same process. Suppose, okay. So I'm trying to open this. Okay. I'm not passing email address password. Just click on the login here. So you got one alert window. So this also you can handle. So all kinds of pop-ups you can handle only through switching command. So driver.switch_alert.accept. So that will close all kinds of pop-ups or window-based pop-ups. All kinds of pop-ups you can close. This is applicable for all types of pop-ups. So you guys can try this even if you click on this. I'm not passing anything here. Just click on the login. You will get this. And provide some email address and click on the login. It will give you this message. This is not pop-up. Okay. So don't provide anything here. Just click on login here. Then you will get this. So these type of, apart from this, when you're working with any other web pages, normally you will see some pop-ups. Okay. In that case also, you can handle those type of pop-ups. And pop-ups in the sense, they are not ads. Okay. Sometimes in your web page, you can see some ads randomly, right? From AdSense. So they are different. They are not pop-ups. So those ads, if you want to disable, you have to use Chrome options and we have to disable the ads that I'll show you later. Ads are different. Alerts and pop-ups are different. Alerts, the pop-ups are purely belongs to your application, but ads are not belongs to your application. So the ads are randomly displayed on the web page. Okay. So this command, switching commands works only with alerts and pop-ups. They're not for ads. Ads are totally different. Okay, so how to disable ads and how to run your test in Indigo mode, and also how to run your test on the browser with the selector hub. Suppose sometimes when you run your tests, you don't see these plugins. Currently, you're able to see all these plugins, right? I have added on my Chrome browser. But when you launch your web page through automation, you can't see any plugins. So if you want to run the test using plugins, how can we do this? These are all things we can do by using Chrome options class. There is a special class is there. I will discuss this in a separate class. Okay, then we will see all these things. So the switching command is only meant for what? Handling alerts and pop-ups. So for uploading documentation, everything, we have to use some third-party tools like AutoIT, Siguli, because WebDriver is purely web-based automation tool. We cannot automate desktop things. Okay. So if your files are available on your desktop, you cannot directly upload through WebDriver commands. So we have to use some third-party tools. If you don't want to use third-party tools, still you can handle this. You can directly pass that path in the box. And that is also another class. I'll show you that, how to upload the file, how to download the file. So we'll discuss that in the next classes, coming classes. So all these topics are our future topics, guys. Don't ask me now. So we will have separate sessions for them. There are still a lot of things are there. You can just see the curriculum once and you will understand what are the topics we are going to cover. Okay. Right. So let us stop here for today's session. You try this assignment for today, and tomorrow we'll discuss some more things. You can also handle radio buttons, checkboxes from the page, and this is for alert window. Okay. So that's all for today's session. We'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue.